Hi everybody, welcome to PJTV. I'm Bill Whittle. And this is part 2 of PJTV's series on games as part of American culture. Now, in the harsh landscape of indie game development, it's important to get good reviews on blogs and industry trade journals, so stand by for a true tawdry tale of adventure. Zoe Quinn's game, Depression Quest, was one that got a lot of positive reviews from critics right as it was set to be released on the game system called Steambox. But Zoe's former boyfriend alleges that she had a sexual affair with a critic for the video game blog Kotaku in order to achieve the positive reviews. So far, sounds just like Hollywood. Now, soon after these allegations surfaced, Zoe and her family received hate mail and even death threats. This has sparked an international controversy called Gamergate. It's expanded from Zoe's case, and since my friend Andrew Klavan is here, let me do a quick introduction. We'll come back and we'll do the Gamergate case. So, in order to help us understand Gamergate's implications, we have here our expert panel, which is including Bonnie Gordon, who's a former contestant on ABC's live-action role-play reality show called The Quest. She's also a member of the comedy band The Library Bards. And next to her is Xander Jeanneret. He's a former contestant on the TBS show King of the Nerds, and he also hosts an internet gaming show Under the Table. And to my right, of course, is Andrew Klavan, best-selling author, PJTV contributor, and the weaker half of the well-known Klavan and Whittle show right here on PJTV. Drew, I'm going to hand Gamergate off to you for a little capsule introduction because you know a little more about it than I do.
Well, it's a hard thing to understand because the word refers both to the scandal, the Gamergate, and to the people fighting against the scandal. That sexual, the sexual scandals and all that aside, what really came to light was that feminists and leftists, what they call social justice warriors, were infiltrating the review structure of games and giving bad reviews to games and making sure there were bad reviews given to games that didn't fit their leftist ideals. Right, exactly. So someone like me, who's just a consumer who would go to Metacritic and see, well, what's the average of stars? Those averages were being skewed according to politics. Now, most gamers are either libertarian or skew a little bit to the left, but really they started to rebel, and this hashtag Gamergate became their sort of battle cry that they would go on Twitter and other social media to fight back and say, you know, gaming, leave our games alone. Just get out and take your social justice and take your feminism and take your philosophies and get out of our games and let us play, which is a wonderful thing. It should happen more often.
No, it is a wonderful thing. So, Bonnie, let's start with that. The one thing I've seen millennials get absolutely agitated on, they have a great deal of social consciousness, but the one thing that actually gets them out of their chairs is things like regulation of the internet, or you know, even like a Wi-Fi fee or something. When they start messing with their internet, they start to get a little nutty. What do you think about this? Because the whole idea of the internet really, to me, seems to be about absolute freedom. You can't censor it, and therefore you don't censor it, because it's physically impossible to censor the internet. It was designed in a way to be so parallel. So how do you feel about this? Do you feel that it's appropriate that games function in the marketplace of ideas where a game should stand on its own merits without elitist people telling you what to do? Or do you think that the people who are saying, no, we need less misogyny, we need less violence against women, or whatever their case may be, have an actual point?
You know, it really goes both ways. With gaming, as a woman who plays games, it's very hard to see the sexism within the gaming world. You know, where to get to the next level, you have to, you know, beat up a woman, or you know, rape some hooker, or you know, it's. So I understand what's going on. In all honesty, though, games should stand on their own. I mean, it's your own personal decision to play a game. You know, I might not choose to play this game because of this. I might not choose to play this game of that. For reviewing a game, though, because it was made by a woman, and giving it negative reviews or positive reviews because of that, I think that's silly. I think you should review a game because of a game, not because of who made it. It should stand on its own. It really should.
You know, Xander, I'd like to get your take on this too, because this, I think, kind of gets to the core of the issue. When you get into games like Grand Theft Auto or something, you are voluntarily releasing the moral behavior that you would have in the real world. For instance, there was a Star Trek role-playing game out for a while ago, and the Klingon supplement got to be the one that everybody wanted, because the Klingons get to phaser the hostages, right? Yeah. I mean, the Klingons are the ones that get to execute the hostages. Yeah. And there's not one of us who, on some level, doesn't want to execute a few hostages just to see what it feels like. So what do you feel about that? Do you feel that these charges that the feminist critics are leveling are authentic? Do you think it causes actual damage to young men, especially in terms of their attitudes? Or do you think, no, this is a character and it is an environment and we all know that we're not going to actually crowbar a hooker in the real world?
Yeah, well, first I want to go on record that Gamergate is stupid. Like, that whole thing was real dumb.
Why?
Well, for one thing, they didn't have a clear message. Nobody knew what it was or what they were really aiming at.
Yeah.
That was a huge problem. And then a woman by the name of Anita Sarkeesian came out with Feminist Frequency, which was a series of YouTube videos that explored feminism in video games, and there was huge backlash for that by the male game community. And that they kind of took Gamergate as their thing of, like, we're anti-feminist, we're anti-social justice warriors, we're anti-Anita Sarkeesian, and we want Gamergate to be our hashtag. You know, that's where we'll gather together. And it's so dumb because it's a very educated look at video games from a slightly biased perspective because she is a woman, but it's there. Like, you can't debate the facts. And then, like, games now, the average audience for video games is 45% is women.
That's
so
incredible.
It's half the demographic that you're ignoring or treating badly or not being able to play.
I want to take issue with everything you just said.
Go. Yeah.
I was totally on the side of the Gamergaters. I thought,
Really?
I thought Sarkeesian. I think she's an idiot. I think that when you're complaining that Super Mario rescues Princess Peach, and that's a problem for her because it shows men rescuing women. Men like to rescue women. They like to dream about rescuing women. And the statistics about women being 45% of gamers is a baloney statistic. I mean, gaming is still almost real intense gaming. Is still almost entirely a male purview, and it was built by males and created by males, so it's going to have a male, it's going to be skewed toward males. Why males are not allowed to have the kind of entertainment they want, where they rescue women from danger, which is a central male daydream.
It's a genetic
imperative. And by the way, if you don't have males who want to rescue women from danger, you can have a lot of women in danger. It's not going to be a fun world. So all I'm saying is, I have nothing against Sarkeesian making her comments, but I have a problem when that corrupts the judgment of games at the reviewer level. I mean, she can make her comments, I can make my comments against her. That's great, I love that. But when that infiltrates the reviewing structure so that a game can't get a good review unless it sort of has a pass from the Sarkeesians of the world, I think that's corrupting.
Well, I think it can go the other way too, where what they're talking about with Gamergate was that it was a woman developer and it didn't get a pass because it's a male-dominated world, and there was some, like, sexual scandal allegedly that happened. And I think that should just be what Bonnie was saying, like, taken out of the equation altogether.
Let the game stand alone.
Let the game stand alone.
If it's a good game, who cares if it was developed by a woman or a man? Who cares?
Of course.
But the issue that's bringing up then is the male-dominated going in to rescue someone. I think she just pointed it out, like, this is a trope that has happened in the past.
She's critical of it, and
true.
I also think the free market is the best judge.
There you go.
I mean, if 45% of gamers are women, if that statistic is true, then there's a lot of money to be made by making games for women. Most people who have made games for women have found that there's really not that much money to be made, and the big money is making, you know, Dragon Quest.
But you're comparing, like, a AAA title versus, like, online game for your phone. Like, the quality level is not the same. So if the game is bad, even though it's made for women, that doesn't mean that women are going to be like, this is a good game.
Well, let's talk about how women are represented in video games. Let's just talk about this, because it's a weird sort of a dichotomy, right? I mean, on one hand, really the first major woman character that I can remember in a video game was Lara Croft. That's the first time that men were expected to play a woman character. Anybody who played the game, you're playing this woman, and she's this tremendously buxom, incredibly sexy babe. So it's kind of a way to get the guys kind of half interested in solving how to jump over the maze, because you get to watch Laura do her thing. But so on one hand, you've got, look, here's the problem. On one hand, in games like Grand Theft Auto or Kingpin or something, women are just objects. It's a level up thing. And at the same time, you also have games where women characters are designed in the game to be fully capable of defeating men characters, which doesn't happen in the real world. You're not going to get a 4'2" or 4'9" or a 5'2" woman beating up a 6'3", 250-pound man in the real world. This is actually a concern of mine. I'm actually concerned about this because I am genuinely concerned that that women will assume that because in a game they have the power to beat a man in a game, that they'll be able to go out in the real world and get into fights with these guys because they're going to get hurt?